Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Friday, November 27th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi, and we begin tonight with a familiar warning, and it has to do with warm and very windy weather. Santa Ana winds prompting a red flag warning and concern over fire danger. That concern turned into action this afternoon when firefighters rushed to put out a small fire in the Cleveland National Forest near Alpine. KPBS reporter Max Rivlin-Nadler shows us some of the fight.
Winds gusted as high as 57 miles per hour early Friday morning in Pine Valley. And with dry conditions and low humidity, the stage was set for possible wildfires. The high winds up here in the mountains hadn't led to any fires until shortly after 1 o'clock this afternoon, when a vegetation fire broke out here in Cleveland National Forest. CAL FIRE is right now assisting with the Forest Service to put out the fire. That wildfire in Jotapool Valley stretched to 10 acres by Friday afternoon. But CAL FIRE said they were able to contain the fire shortly after 3 p.m. Firefighters flooded to the scene, with some even being brought in by helicopter. James Brotherton with the National Weather Service in San Diego says that strong winds remain in the forecast heading into the weekend.
So right now the winds are still focused over Orange County and the Inland Empire, but tonight they're going to shift more to the east, which is more favorable for San Diego. So we will see the winds pick up in San Diego tonight through tomorrow morning. Wind gusts around 50 miles per hour, especially through the canyons and along the foothills.
Brotherton says the winds should die out tomorrow afternoon, but he cautioned that San Diego isn't out of fire danger yet. Winds will pick up in the middle of next week, and there is no rain in the near-term forecast. Max Rivlin-Nadler, KPBS News.
And the weather is a bit more relaxed in some inland areas. This video is from earlier today in Escondido. The fire risk is expected to lessen this weekend. We'll have that in our full forecast a bit later. San Diego County is likely to reach 1,000 COVID-19 deaths since the start of the pandemic sometime this weekend. There was no daily briefing due to the holiday, but the county is still giving us updated numbers. We're averaging well above 1,000 new cases per day. That far exceeds the daily numbers seen since March, and an indicator that the virus is spreading faster than ever. Local hospitalizations reached a record high this week. County officials reported at least 518 COVID patients were hospitalized. These surges are happening all over the country. And San Diego-based staffing agency Aya Healthcare is helping U.S. hospitals get the extra nurses they need. April Hansen leads Aya's workforce solutions and clinical services. She says they're seeing the highest volume of requests since the pandemic began, with ICU nurses in high demand.
They're balancing all of the normal ailments that bring people into hospitals, and they have the complexity of COVID on top of that. Caring for patients that are suffering with COVID-19 right now is very time and labor intensive.
Locally, travel nurse requests have recently dipped but are still at a high rate. Hospitalizations in San Diego are expected to increase following recent surges in daily COVID cases. Black Friday, like everything else this year, is happening under the cloud of the pandemic. We have team coverage on how companies big and small are hoping the holidays will bring a much-needed boost. We start with KPBS reporter Joe Hong in Mission Valley.
The parking lot at this Best Buy in Mission Valley was completely filled, with shoppers competing for parking spaces. While the crowds may seem similar to a pre-pandemic Black Friday, the shopping experience has completely changed.
It's very different. We have the COVID restricted line, so everybody has to keep 6 feet apart, spaced out, all that good stuff. Traffic has been insane. We've been here for a total of 5 minutes. We're already kind of tired of it, but it's cool. I mean, it is what it is as long as people are being safe.
The line of people waiting to pick up their purchases stretched across the Best Buy parking lot. Other shoppers parked in designated pickup spots where employees hand-delivered purchases. One San Diego resident was even shopping from her car.
I've been doing everything online. In fact, I'm shopping online while standing here waiting for my computer.
Carolyn Godman said she looks forward to Black Friday every year.
I was one of those people that really enjoys going into the stores and being with the crowds, and can't do that really this year.
Shoppers said they were waiting for up to an hour before leaving with their purchases. But those we talked to said the shopping experience overall felt both efficient and safe. Joe Hong, KPBS News.
Local businesses hope shoppers will make a conscious decision on where to buy in the days ahead. In a moment, we'll have our Friday business report. But first, John Carroll on the importance of Small Business Saturday in San Diego.
If you're looking for a place with a lot of small businesses all bunched together, the main drag through Ocean Beach, Newport Avenue, fits the bill. Ocean Beach Surf and Skate has been a fixture here for years. Buying a surf or skateboard from here takes the whole local thing one step further.
It's all locally made. Our shop owner tries to steer away from any kind of commercial brands just because we're here to support the community.
Get it on a nice stable surface. It just clicks in like that.
It's not just you giving them your money, it's what small businesses are able to give to you.
We offer what, those big businesses can't, which is in-person expertise.
It seems that message is getting through, at least in the Golden State. Data from a Union Bank survey shows 7 in 10 Californians think it's more important to support small business than to get the best deal. More than half, 53%, say they've already increased how much they spend at small retailers to keep them in business during the pandemic. Just up the street from OB Surf and Skate is Synergy 180, a yoga and fitness studio that's very much in support of Small Business Saturday, especially during this difficult time. Once the pandemic restrictions went into place, they were able to stay open here with reduced class sizes, and they also lined out places on the floor to keep people separated. But once we slipped into the purple tier, that meant taking everything upstairs. Up here, to the roof. After slipping into the purple tier, this is now the studio where they hold all their classes.
I think it's really important right now, with everything shut down, that we support those small businesses.
When it comes to gyms, yoga, and fitness studios, Kaylin Harris says Synergy 180 is lucky to have this space. The fact they're able to stay open doesn't mean they will, though, if they don't get community support. Harris says things are going okay now. Synergy hasn't had to lay anyone off. She says their clients appreciate what a small business like Synergy can offer.
Just that one-on-one aspect that you don't get when you work with big corporations. And we can just really, come together as a community.
But not just any community.
OB is a very tight-knit community. We take care of our own down here.
But whether it's OB or anywhere else in this county, small businesses are counting on all of us to help them, especially during this pandemic, and not just on Small Business Saturday, but on every day. John Carroll, KPBS News.
This year, what's going to be interesting is Small Business Saturday and Cyber Monday are going to have a very important role in this whole Black Friday holiday shopping window. In most cases, up to 30 to 40%, if you're a toy store, 40% of your revenues is coming in over these last couple of months. So the holidays are really critical for small business. And with the pandemic, the small businesses have been very negatively impacted. Depending on the surveys you see, as many as 200,000 small businesses, from retailers to restaurants to salon owners, have gone out of business since the beginning of the pandemic. So there's a lot of focus on Small Business Saturday. Cyber Monday is going to be a record. This season, we're going to see over $200 billion of all holiday spending being done online. And that represents a 35% increase over last year. In fact, it's like putting 2 years of growth into one. Amazon says that over 50% of their storefronts are run by small to mid-sized businesses. You can go on eBay, you can go on Etsy, and there's a lot of different platform sites that aggregate small businesses. So savvy small businesses will tap into those and be able to offer consumers the breadth of what they offer across many, many more channels than they normally do just being located on a main street or in a mall.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, another COVID record broken, with over 90,000 Americans now hospitalized for the coronavirus. That's coming up at 7 right after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Families are a bit more isolated this holiday season, and that's especially true for those living in nursing homes. COVID-19 has imposed rules that make it even harder for loved ones to visit in person. Bryn Gingras shows us how they're trying to make the best of a tough situation.
That's in Rhode Island at my sister-in-law's house.
Since the pandemic began, it's the physical connection with family Kathy Corey and other residents at this Connecticut nursing home ache for.
It's like my heart get ripped out sometimes.
Just waiting.
Waiting for what?
Yeah, to be able to hug again.
Especially this time of year.
The holidays are all about memories of the family, and it's hard enough not being with your family, but when they can't even come up and eat a meal with you or anything or visit, it's hard.
In the spring, the coronavirus ravaged the Northeast. Nursing homes may have paid the heftiest price. To date, residents in long-term care facilities make up 8% of all cases in the U.S., but nearly half of the country's total deaths.
It's like being in a battle. It's the same mentality.
Bill White is the owner of Beechwood Long-Term Care in Connecticut.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
To keep residents safe, White put in place a strict multi-layer system of checks to prevent COVID-19 from infiltrating these walls.
Have you been to a hotspot state in the last 14 days?
A health questionnaire and testing requirement for visitors. Beechwood has gone through periods of denying visitations outright to allowing them with restrictions.
You don't know what works, and at the end, no one's going to care if you keep it out.
So far, Beechwood's had just 14 cases since March. 3 of them residents, the rest staff. A success by all accounts.
We were really lucky to have such precautions taken. We didn't see that everywhere, and the people really paid the price.
In the last week alone, Connecticut saw 306 confirmed coronavirus cases of nursing home residents. 39 people have died. A sign of where the state may be headed? Last week, this once abandoned nursing home became fully operational again. It's reserved for COVID-19 positive long-term care residents. They're moved here to mitigate the virus spreading like a brush fire inside their home facilities.
The amount of referrals that we're getting and people calling, asking, can we take patients? It's been very consistent since the day that we opened. I mean, we haven't really had a slow moment.
With help from the National Guard, the state first opened this facility in April. It was one of 4 like it needed in the spring to get control of cases. It closed in the summer when the numbers went down. For now, the state is relying on just this building, but it hasn't ruled out the possibility of needing more space as cases surge. On this day, 8 sick elderly patients were expected to arrive. We talked to Charles Miller, who was one of the first patients admitted. He's a Beechwood resident who tested COVID positive while recovering from a stroke at the hospital.
It's tough on the elderly. I think it's tough on everybody.
Miller tries to keep a good spirit.
You look good.
I feel great.
Because this Thanksgiving will be the first away from his wife and family.
We have next year.
Yeah, we sure do.
Seeing their loved one's face, even if it's just via a FaceTime visit, is sometimes a critical piece in their care.
Miller's goal is to fight the virus.
Do our part.
Get back to Beechwood and join the family these residents have become as they stick together and stay healthy, all anxiously waiting for that one thing.
You'll give him a hug after this is all over.
I will indeed. A lot of hugs.
Bryn Gingras, CNN, New London, Connecticut.
A groundbreaking project that could help premature babies in intensive care has just launched. The first nonprofit breast milk bank that will serve families in San Diego. KPBS reporter Tanya Thorne tells us more.
Donated breast milk can be a lifeline for sick or premature infants. UC San Diego Health has launched the first milk bank in San Diego and one of only 30 nonprofit milk banks in North America. For these infants, baby formula can result in a fatal bowel disease known by the acronym NEC. Dr. Lisa Stellwagen, the executive director of the milk bank, will be running the program out of the San Diego Blood Bank.
The milk, though, is going to feed these tiny, fragile babies, so we have to be really careful that the milk is as safe as it can be.
Donors are carefully screened before being able to donate. The donated milk is then tested, processed, and pasteurized to eliminate any viruses. A recent study showed that COVID-19 does not appear to be transmitted through breast milk after the bank's pasteurization process.
They took a mom's milk that was negative, they put virus in it, and put it through the pasteurization process that we use, and showed that the pasteurization eliminated the virus.
The current goal for the bank is to provide milk to babies in intensive care, particularly in underserved communities. But Dr. Stellwagen has plans for the future.
And after the pandemic, hopefully we'll be able to collect milk with the mobile vans and out in their community centers. Moms could have a blood test close to home and drop off their milk, and then all the milk would come back here at the end of the day.
Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
Let's get an update now on the small fire burning this afternoon near Alpine. CAL FIRE and others pounced on the fire just after 1 o'clock today in the Cleveland National Forest. CHP says it started near Hoppatul and Hoppatul Valley roads. CAL FIRE says the wind was definitely a factor in helping it spread. Conditions are expected to improve this weekend.
Meteorologist Chris Nallen with you. We're talking about some pretty tranquil weather around San Diego. However, just to the east, across the hills and the mountains, do expect some windy conditions to continue. So there is a red flag warning into Saturday morning. So fire danger is still in place for parts of Southern California. Although, again, along the coast, more tranquil, definitely less wind here in San Diego and surrounding communities. We'll have a next few days of pleasant days and cool nights, so it's perfect this time of year. Now, future forecast into the night, we're looking at quiet conditions here all throughout the southwest when it comes to actual precipitation. Still have a bit of wind, though, as mentioned, along the I-10 coming in and out of San Diego, but further north, that's where the activity continues here. Water vapor telling the tale. Love to show this because it indicates really where that dry air is, and all across Southern California we have that dry air in place. Upper level low spinning over Arizona and then heading into New Mexico. But again, that was part of the windy situation, but here as of right now, again, it's all about the dryness and still some of those winds into the night. So further towards the east around Mount Laguna, again, could be breezy at times, cold too, middle 20s. How about 48 in San Diego? Ramona there 34. So we certainly have those cold nights coming back into play, but followed by beautiful sunny skies in the afternoon. During the day, 72 in San Diego, back towards Chula Vista at 72, Mount Laguna at 63 degrees. So the big story here into your Saturday, we have high pressure to the north. That's pushing in those Santa Ana winds here. So that's where we continue to see highest elevations, especially seeing some very gusty winds, and that continues into your Saturday with very dry air in place. So more specifically, outside of LA, down 15 here, and then outside of San Diego, we're looking at dry vegetation, some locally strong winds, and a low humidity that is in place. So that's what we're looking at here across the south, and you can see it along the coast. Lots of sunshine near 70. Heading inland, well, beautiful skies, and 70s will continue into the mountains. We're in the 60s throughout the next several days. And then for the deserts, mid-70s and then 30s at night. Reporting for KPBS, I'm Chris Nallen.
A player for the San Diego Padres is suing a local strip club. Tommy Pham was injured in a stabbing outside Pacers in the Midway District just last month. The Padres outfielder claims security escalated the situation by participating in a fight and failed to call police. No one was arrested. In the lawsuit, Pham claims his injuries will have an impact on his earning potential as a baseball player. The Walt Disney Company is laying off another 4,000 workers at its parks in Anaheim and in Orlando. In all, 32,000 employees will be out of work. Another 37,000 furloughed due to the pandemic. In Florida, the company has been limiting attendance at its parks and changing protocols to allow for social distancing. California parks have yet to reopen pending state and local government approvals. California drivers who picked a fight with the DMV over their license plates will soon get their way. This week, a judge ruled in favor of those whose vanity plate requests were rejected. Laura Anthony updates us on this legal battle over self-expression.
And as someone who identifies as queer, it's something that I hold dear to my heart, and it's something I really believe in.
Oakland's Amrit Kohli applied for a California vanity license plate displaying a single word, just 5 letters, queer.
And now at this time in not only history, but in my life, to be able to reclaim that word and make it part of our community and a positive part of our community is really empowering for us.
But last year, the DMV rejected Coley's application on the grounds that the word might be considered insulting, degrading, or expressing contempt for a group or person. Now, a U.S. District Court judge has overturned that DMV standard.
They consult sources like Urban Dictionary, Google Translate, and Reddit. And I think we've shown in this case that they reach inconsistent, subjective, and arbitrary results. U.S.
District Court Judge John Tiger ruled personalized messages are not government speech and must be both viewpoint neutral and reasonable. As part of their case, the plaintiffs used as evidence other vanity plates the DMV had rejected. Zin Red, due to possible gang association. Gur Dead, as in Grateful Dead. And Knife Please, a request made by a surgeon. Now that the court has ruled in his favor, Omri Coley plans to reapply to the DMV for that personalized plate that is so personal to him.
I really do hope I get that soon because I'd like to put it on my car.
A spokesperson told ABC 7 News the DMV is still reviewing the court's ruling, which does still allow the department to reject vanity plates that are clearly profane.
That was Laura Anthony reporting. COVID-19 cases are scrambling this weekend's NFL schedule. The Rams and Broncos canceled practices today due to positive tests. And a game that was supposed to be played on Thanksgiving night is being pushed all the way to Tuesday. The Ravens are dealing with more than a dozen cases, including its star quarterback, Lamar Jackson. COVID-19 is also the reason for a last-minute trip to Colorado for the SDSU Aztecs. SDSU's conference game against Fresno State was called off due to COVID-19 issues with the Bulldogs. The Mountain West Conference declared the game a no contest and has no plans to reschedule it. Colorado's game at USC was canceled yesterday, so the team worked out a plan to bring the Aztecs into play. SDSU is 3-2 so far this season. San Diego's Digital Gem Cinema is now streaming an entry for the Best Foreign Film Oscar. KPBS film critic Beth Accomando says it's rare for a documentary to be considered in this category, but Collective is not your typical documentary.
Collective begins with a fire that broke out in a Bucharest nightclub in 2015.
Cum e posibil ca oameni care au ieșit de acolo să moară după 12 zile?
But the fire that resulted in dozens of deaths is just the catalyst for a gripping documentary that plays out more like a thriller, or perhaps a Romanian All the President's Men. In the aftermath of the tragedy, a reporter discovers information exposing a seriously corrupt health system that was killing patients while rewarding many managers for turning a blind eye. In riveting detail, the film takes us from the initial tragedy to the optimism inspired by a persistent team of journalists and a well-intentioned health minister. But then it crushes our hopes as money and greed prove resistant to change. Collective is a thoroughly engrossing and superbly crafted film that explores one country's specific problems, while also resonating universally in terms of addressing issues that affect people everywhere. Make an effort to check this one out. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
And from the big screen to the video game console, the PlayStation 5 will be a big seller this holiday season, and one of its marquee games is inspired by an Oscar-winning superhero movie. Rick Damigella gives us a look at SpiderMan Miles Morales.
Now it's your turn. Go be a hero, Miles.
Suit up as the web slinger in Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales.
It's a game that is a continuation of the first one that released in 2018, where we saw the adventures of Peter Parker 8 years into his tenure as Spider-Man, and a new Spider-Man started, perking up, and that was Miles Morales.
Thank you! You're welcome!
This game takes place 1 year after those events, and this is going to be Miles' journey to discover what it means to be a hero on his own.
An unlockable spider suit Miles can wear is from the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie, complete with the film's frame rate.
Some of the things we really loved about Into the Spider-Verse was that on-twos frame skip aesthetic that you'd see as Miles is swinging and doing combat, which gives it that hand-drawn feel. So our tech artists were able to replicate that aesthetic.
Whenever you say Spider-Man, you always mean the other one. You're Spider-Man. You can fix this your way.
Leveling up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Here's a recap of tonight's top stories. CAL FIRE and the U.S. Forest Service were busy today with a small wildfire near Alpine. About 10 crews burned near Hapatul. 10 fires burned near Hapatul Road south of the I-8. Crews say they're now in mop-up mode, though. A red flag warning is in effect through tomorrow for strong wind in the area. And San Diego County is approaching 1,000 COVID-19 deaths since the start of the pandemic. The milestone coincides with a major surge in new cases recently. Locally, we're seeing well over 1,000 cases per day. Health officials are worried the trend might continue as people hold gatherings and travel during the holiday weekend. And today is Black Friday, the traditional start of the holiday shopping season. Shops big and small were busy today with people looking for deals. Tomorrow is Small Business Saturday, a marketing push to buy from local companies. Many of them have struggled due to the economic slump caused by the pandemic. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley. And by the following: and by viewers like you. Thank you.